FEMA prison camps. Let's talk about FEMA prison camps. President Obama has authorized the Federal Emergency Management Agency to have the authority to authorize the detention of U.S. citizens in prison camps without due process and all that legal mumbo-jumbo that can get in the way. Now, what does this mean? Well, first let's look at the job the Federal Emergency Management Agency has, their role in government and what they do when there is a volcano or a hurricane or a tornado or some other type of disaster. The federal government agency, FEMA, would step in and assume control of the situation. Now, there are state and local and even there is the federal division of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. There's state and local offices of emergency management, but they are under the control of the federal government. The federal government is a sole factor which gives the state and local agencies their authority. There are state and local homeland security agencies who again operate by and through the federal government, as the federal government is the agency that gives the power and authority to these state and local people. Now, the purpose of the state and local federal Department of Public Safety and Homeland Security agencies, the purpose of these agencies, the emergency management agencies, the local ones and the state ones, the Red Cross chapters, the purpose of these is for manpower, okay? It's nothing more and nothing less. It's for manpower. Now, we've seen with the Christmas Eve underwear bomber how easy it was for a man who is not a U.S. national to enter the United States and even the United States airspace, with explosive devices. Who cares? The fact is that it is entirely possible and mathematically plausible for a terrorist to come to America and detonate a dirty bomb or a bomb that can cause cataclysmic damage to our society. If that happens, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the Department of Homeland Security, and mainly the military, will join together and they will set up curfews, roadblocks, etc. If and more importantly, when a dirty bomb goes off, then more than likely a terrorist will target a populated area of our country. Okay. Once you're exposed to the radiation of the dirty bomb, you're done. Stick a fork in you, you're cooked. And then there are possibilities of using germ warfare and other communicable diseases. So has Homeland Security talked to the military, the local, state, and federal health departments, and police chiefs? I don't know. I hope so. To prepare for that type of contingency. In cases in areas where it is determined to be contaminated, then the military will pull people who are at risk out of their homes and out of their businesses, and they will detain them, and they will test them. They will set up basically prison camps, chain link fences, concertina wire, men in hazmat suits and army suits with machine guns on jeeps who will shoot you if you try to leave the camp, and they will also, more importantly, treat you if it is possible. The government, not wanting to cause panic, has used the innocent-looking FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency, as a mode of protocol which they then can rely on as a point of authority in the future. Now, when President Bush was in power, he was forcing people from protesting all over the country, okay? He was having police in riot gear with helmets, with metal knuckles in their gloves, set up cages in which the police would direct the protesters into. I mean, there were these very rough, shady police barricade cages, you know, just ghetto style made, rigged, four walls of this cage where they were herding these people like cattle into these cages, and they were detaining them right there in the middle of the street. I mean, it was martial law when Bush was in power. Now, this was an illegal detention. However, we have seen the Obama administration entirely lenient with civil disobedience through civil participation. Now, you did not hear too much of these protesters during the Bush administration. You did not hear about the Bush administration through an executive order ordering these peaceful people who just wanted to be recognized as citizens. You did not hear about them being rounded up like cattle because any newspaper, any radio station or television station that continued to say bad things about President Bush had either the Federal Communications Commission deny their license to broadcast, they fined them hefty fines, or order them to pay enormous amounts of money to get a new broadcast license. Okay? So that's the situation. Okay? It is not just entirely possible for a terrorist to come over here with a communicable disease and put thousands and thousands of people in danger of becoming contaminated. That's just not a possibility. It's eventually going to happen, and when it does happen, there's going to need to be a rapid response, a rapid idea of how to go about contaminating or containing the contamination. And, you know, the Obama administration has many places he could go to invoke that type of special privilege. I mean, he could go to the military, he could go to, you know, the Department of Homeland Security, he could go to the FBI, he could go to all these different federal agencies. But it's better that the Federal Emergency Management Agency got it just because it doesn't seem so harsh, okay? But if a dirty bomb or a germ warfare or some type of communicable disease is unleashed to the American populace, then rest assured, once people at hospitals call the health department, once the health department calls the military and all these people find out about it, they will seal up the areas of contamination. They will force people away from the areas of contamination. So if you live in a house and you're determined to be safe from the contaminated area, and if you're right on the edge or the border of the contaminated area, then you are also going to be forced to leave. So that is the purpose of that type of authorization act. He's not going to use it to, you know, just take anybody he wants to take and throw them in a Fema camp. You know, that would be political suicide, and he's not that type of person. We've seen that type of stuff done through the Bush administration, the rounding up of people that the Bush administration did not like and keeping him without any due process or stuff like this. But there was not one instance where a news reporter said something bad about the President Bush, because if he did, he had his broadcaster's license revoked. And it did not matter if he was some man down in New Orleans who was broadcasting through a homemade broadcasting on a radio frequency through his own equipment. It did not matter. If you said something about Bush that Bush did not like, they'd come in there, FCC would come in there, they'd wipe you out, they'd take your equipment, you can't broadcast no more. And they did that to all the news agencies. You never heard people say, hey, Alex Jones, Rush Limbaugh, Fox News, they're all picking on Obama and this and that. But that is good. That is good. That is a sign of democracy. That is a sign of democracy. That's all there is to it. You know, you have to understand who's really for you and who's really against you.